I want to go circle back to one of the original concepts we were talking about, which is production quality. Each one of these sites is thoroughly different in their design, color schemes, layout, feel. They're all very different. They all speak a different way. Their copy is all very different. Just look, like they're just totally different. And even how they structure their website in the form of a sitemap is different from each other. But they all make you feel like it's a legitimate company. They all meet this basic feeling of production quality. Things just feel right. They feel well designed. They feel well written. So it's a good idea to, going back to that first exercise of those three ideas: design, layout, communication, copy, quality of information, and rating each one on a scale of 1 to 10, and then going back again and doing it and seeing if you're developing any new insights, marking up what you like, what you don't like. You're going to find that you have your own design preferences. So for example, like I don't like the full screen wide layout. I happen to like, especially for desktop, I like boxed layouts, and you can see that we have that. So we have the gray in the background, and like all of our pages are sort of contained in this white border. Regardless of what page you're on, if you're on the case, like it's all contained. And I happen to like that. It sort of centers it for me. But again, that's a personal preference. Like that's not impacting conversion rate. Like you might find some like silly blog that talks about that, but it doesn't, right? Let's just be honest. Little things like that, little design flares are not going to make a difference in results. What's going to make a difference in result is, of course, is how fast your page is loading. And again, that idea of design information architecture, the layout, and the quality of the information. That's the stuff that's going to really make a difference. But again, there's no reason why you shouldn't include or strive to create something that you also enjoy looking at. You're entitled to have a website that you think is nice too, and you should be able to accomplish that. All right, moving on. Now, again, once you've started doing this research, you're doing these exercises, don't be afraid to copy all artists steal. We've spoken about that. No need to speak about it further. I hope by now you're okay with literally stealing. Like, go ahead, pixel for pixel layout, but change the copy. Don't plagiarize. It worked for me. Don't make a one-page site. Okay, they never caught on. To me, they always give this impression of like you just didn't try hard enough. It's not conventional. It's difficult to find what you're looking for. Don't make a one-page site. Structure your site properly. Now, but don't get overwhelmed. Some of these sites are much larger in nature, and they include a lot of pages that you don't necessarily need. Focus on your core pages. You have a home page, you have a contact page, a services page, case studies page, reviews, pricing, team, and a blog. Like those essentially are all the pages that I think you would need in starting off with a website, especially if you've done the work we spoke about in the previous lecture for the first 3 to 6 months, where you have your first round of clients, you have your first round of case studies, and you are ready to upload that content and format it professionally on your site. So again, a homepage, of course, contact page, of course, services page or pages, depending on how many services you have. It's always worthwhile to segment out those services into different services. And case studies, reviews, I think should be separate. Pricing, I put in parentheses because you might not have a pricing page. Again, if you're going to be focusing more on the small business space, which I highly recommend, it could be a really, really great idea to have a page on your site that outlines your pricing, whether or not you have pre-built packages and you outline that, or you have a bunch of like benchmark pricing for it's either a graphic design package or something else. It's definitely something worthwhile to think about. Again, there's nothing wrong with not having a pricing page. And then you might have a team page, but even that, a team page is not necessarily necessary for now. If you're just yourself, you could have you yourself as a CEO and founder. Again, if you're a freelancer, then it's perfect because you might have a couple of contractors you work with and yourself, and then a blog. And again, you don't need a blog right now. A blog, if you're not focused on writing for your blog yet, I don't think you have to have a blog. In my opinion, that's the last thing that is necessary. Now, sketch before you run. I do this myself. What you're seeing here on the right hand side is like my own sketch, and I like to sketch out with a pen and paper. Because it allows me to make changes before committing to something suboptimal. And what I mean by that is if you're building in Webflow or WordPress and you're using these, even the front end builders, right? And they promise you, oh, it's so easy to make changes. It's so easy to like change your design completely, just drag and drop and change your copy. It's not really true. Once you're building with these front-end designers, even in Webflow, which to me is like the easiest platform in the world to make changes quickly on, once you get over Webflow's learning curve, which maybe is a little bit tougher than WordPress, but it's worth it. I'll get to that in a second. Even then, you're going to find yourself like putting a design together and then it just being too difficult or too overwhelming to change too many things because too many different things have to change with like, you know, your styles and your divs and your spacing, like things will break. And so having it on paper, which you can just rip it up and crumple it up and start again with a pen, makes it so easy to quickly refine ideas and to ideate and to sort of like come up with a version of each page that's going to be like 4 times better than anything you would have done, but if you just went straight into designing it in real time, either on WordPress or Webflow or Squarespace or anything like that. So just another tip: sketch before you begin going live. Now, what about website platforms? Everyone always asks, what website platform do you want to use? I don't know. It doesn't really matter, right? But I would say to me the big 4 are WordPress, Webflow, Squarespace, Wix. You can't go wrong with any of those. WordPress has tons and tons of awesome themes that are like available for you to buy, or free themes. WordPress is really set up to be a blogging site, so it's great for service-based businesses. Lots of developers and freelancers work with WordPress. It's just like, you know, it powers 25% of the internet. It's huge, it's big, it's enormous. You can't go wrong. And there's tons and tons of these front end builders that allow you to really create something totally custom, how you want it to look, without having to write any code or edit things like, you know, edit template code and things like that. Webflow is my personal favorite because it caters to design and it caters to the quality of production quality. It caters to high-level production quality, which is what we need, and it also attracts really good designers. I'm going to show you a couple things that I love about Webflow so much in a second. Squarespace also a little bit more difficult to customize if you're going to go with like finding other PPC sites that you like and trying to copy. Squarespace is going to be tough because they've pre-built beautiful templates for you to use. Essentially, that's what they want. They're not really built for you to design something from scratch. But if you go with any of the Squarespace agency templates, you can't go wrong. They're really well designed. It's a really easy CMS. Wix as well, sort of in that Squarespace camp. Wix is a bigger company with more templates to choose from, but I think you're going to get higher quality stuff using Squarespace. I have a lot of experience with Squarespace, but not in the last few years. I have relatively minimal experience with Wix, but you know, I think either one is fine. But again, Webflow is my favorite. Our website is hosted on Webflow. One of the things that I like about Webflow, why I think it's so fundamentally crucial, is how fast the pages load. They have unbelievably good hosting, relatively cheap. Like it's $15 or $20 a month for like really, really, really good hosting. And page load speed is insanely important. Insanely important. And they use the Amazon Web Services. They use the Fastly CDN, the Content Delivery Network. And the first few years of our website, we had it on GoDaddy, like $2 a month shared hosting. It was terrible. Then we were on WordPress. We were using WP Engine, which was better. WP Engine is the best hosting solution for WordPress. It's awesome, but it was very, I didn't like being on WordPress. It was difficult for us to edit our site, and I didn't like that. I like to be able to edit and A/B test things on the fly. So that's why I go with Webflow, and I recommend Webflow to everybody. There's a little bit of a learning curve. If you're going to go custom, you have to sort of learn the basic. It's all drag and drop. It's all like, you don't have to know any code, but it helps to know the basic CSS properties, what things are, because you can do some really, really cool stuff. And the pages load fast. It's unbelievably easy to edit things on the fly. You have a beautiful CMS where you could upload your blog, your team members, articles, case studies all through their backend CMS. You could give other people editor access as writers and content developers to upload stuff to the site. It's awesome. It's really awesome. Now, Webflow also has 2 really great things going for it. One is they have templates, beautiful templates. And I have here 5 of my favorite ones for agencies: Crex, Focus, Phoenix, Splash, and Grow. Splash is actually a UI kit, and I have them open over here. Well, this is the page where if you log into Webflow, you make an account, or I think you could probably just go to this exact URL, webflow.com/agency-websites. It shows you all the different templates they have for purchase or for free. Some of them are free, I believe. There are definitely a lot of free templates here, but these are the ones specifically tagged as an agency. And if you just look at the quality of the designs, they blow the out-of-the-box WordPress templates out of the water. So just to review, you're moving into the stage now where you have to start thinking about production quality. You have to start thinking about the professionalism of your site. You have to start researching the competition. You have to start looking and making a matrix of those of a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. All these different websites you're looking at, pick 10 to 20 different websites, and on a scale of 1 to 10, you rate design, you rate layout, you rate quality of information. You then begin wireframing your own pages, start sketching it out. You think about your own sitemap. You think about what platform you want to be on, and you could begin stealing, pulling, copying, and trying as much as you can to avoid your own custom design, to avoid editing existing templates as much as possible, unless you are a trained web designer and unless you're breaking a convention in a scenario where you're absolutely certain it is worthwhile to break that convention. Next week, I think we'll go into either formatting case studies better or how to begin thinking about traffic acquisition through paid Facebook and Google Ads campaigns. I'm not sure. I think we should probably talk about just formatting of reviews, looking at different pages, because your website's going to be a place where you really begin getting new traffic from, and new clients from, and new prospects from. And we can also talk about building out a word-of-mouth referral program. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week.